Two organizers of Wednesday's anti-demolition protest, Taiwo Hassan, popularly known as Soweto, and Dele Frank, have been granted bail by Yaba Magistrate Court after being arraigned by the police. The Magistrate A.I.O. Alaka granted the defendants bail for 200,000 naira each, with two sureties in like sum. The court adjourned the case to March 11, 2026, pending the perfection of bail. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, however, appealed to the court to allow the defendants return on Thursday, January 30th, to perfect their bail. The request was granted following an undertaking by counsel. Now we have our correspondent, Victor Mbadike, who's been following the story, which also talked about yesterday. Join me now in the studio. Victor, good afternoon. Yesterday, we spoke about this situation where I saw a video where you were tear-gassed. Just give me an update of this demolition before we go further.
Well, the tear-gas incident happened right at the entrance of the State Assembly complex after the protesters walked almost 6 kilometers to that particular venue. And we did not expect that that incident was ever going to happen because everything went according to plan in terms of, peacefully protesting and all of that. But it came as a rude shock to us when canisters were fired all around and, which made all the protesters camp out for safety, of course, safety first. While some persons were injured in the process, we had two of the organizers in person of Taiwo Hassan, the one we know as Soweto, and the other person, Dele Frank, they were all picked up by the police and taken straight up to the police command. So by 5 in the evening, according to a message sent to us by the counsel to these two persons I just mentioned, Femi Falana, they were first of all taken to Yaba Magistrate Court yesterday to be arraigned at Yaba, yesterday evening 5 to be precise. But on getting to the courts, they were closed for the day, so they had to take them back to Panti, where they were held until they appeared at Yaba Magistrate Court earlier today. And of course, it was quite back and forth. If you permit me to go into the court proceedings, what transpired in court. Initially, of course, the prosecuting counsel would not want Femi Falana to continue with the case because he was a senior advocate of Nigeria, suggesting that he's too senior a lawyer to be at the magistrate level to, stand in case for Soweto, and all of that was squashed. But to round it up, 200,000 naira each, because their bail conditions with two sums in sureties. And the next adjourned court date is set for March 11, 2026. So which ordinarily means that Soweto will have, and his colleague will have to be taken back to, to the cell that's Panti, pending when they would, perfect their bail. But again, Femi Falana, the defense counsel, appealed to the magistrate, Akala, to please allow him to bring or provide his clients first thing tomorrow morning. He was so sure that the bail conditions will be met between now and tomorrow morning, so there was no need or any reason for the two guys to return to the cell. And having signed undertaking, the magistrate, based on personal recognition in terms of the caliber and the personnel of Femi Falana, and said, okay, no problem. So the guys have gone home. I'm pretty sure they're probably resting in their homes now. So by tomorrow, I do believe that they would have perfected their bail conditions.
Right. So, Victor, would you say that the police response was proportionate to the nature of the anti-demolition protest?
Ordinarily, you would say no. Yeah, no. That makes no sense. I will call that brute force. We all know the implications of using tear gas and harmless protesters, particularly if you look at the nature of the protesters that actually came out. These were old women, very young women, and it's not an elite protest where, see the big boss of the rich, not even middle class. These guys are people who could barely afford 3 square meals a day. So you really do not need to, take your luck too far just to tell them to leave that particular place. So using tear gas, and not just even using tear gas, but using them in such numbers, intense, in quick succession when was not necessary, because of course it caused a lot of stampede, a lot of us running for safety and stamping on each other. And some of these canisters, injuring a couple of them that I saw, I know it might be more than that. And, the police should probably have done better in that regard.
Wow. Of course, Nigerians are watching and they're seeing this, and having that response in a peaceful protest can be challenging. Now, do you think that this case is going to set a precedent for how protest-related arrests are handled going forward, saying that Femi Falana was there to bail them?
Well, this question I've been asked many times, and I don't know. I'm not Femi Falana, and I'm not the state government, but we all know how security agencies can be a little bit overboard when they encounter protesters. And it's according to Section 39 and 40 clearly, expressed. Freedom of expression, freedom of association, freedom of gathering. So since that has been cleared by the Constitution, I see no reason why security agencies will continue to interfere or stop these protesters from carrying out their duties. Of course, they could have excuses like the protesters became violent, the protesters, breached contractual agreement by not filtering into the road, which, the consequence of that would mean that you're going to cause heavy traffic and all of that. But I do not see these reasons as tenable enough to use brute force. So honestly, it might not stop. These things happen. It happens all the time, not just in Nigeria, basically, which means I will continue to go back to the courts to seek redress until maybe somebody has to change whatever is in that book called Constitution.
Well, thank you so much, Victor, for joining us. It's always a pleasure having a conversation with you.